Okay, we're just waiting for everything to go live. Okay. We are good. Just the last step here. Okay. Good to see everybody. Paul here. I just did a beautiful podcast with a lady named Andrea Atherton, and she does a podcast. I think it's called Love Anarchy. Sorry. I looked at it briefly and I don't recall it, but we did a beautiful discussion on this topic that I'm going to discuss about awakening ourselves and the importance of us being connected to our personal sexuality as part of embodying all of our energy, embodying our birthright, and using it to heal ourselves. There's some really important understandings that people need to become aware of why sexuality is repressed, why those energies are not wanted in the world in general. It's like giving gasoline to somebody that wants to start a fire or wants to awaken. Our sexual energy and that part of ourselves, that innocence, that purity of ourselves is like gasoline. Once we start to feel pleasure, we feel good in our body, and we use the mechanisms that sexuality creates in our body, magical things start to happen. Basically, we start to heal. Huge amounts of energy come through our sacral root, our root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, etc., and we basically start cleaning our central channel of energy. Anything that's stuck in there, if chakras are blocked, if we have trauma, if we have all these things, our personal mix master of energy or pipe cleaner of energy is our sexual energy, our orgasmic energy. And it's really powerful stuff. It can create babies. It's creation energy. It can change our life completely. When people are in businesses that they love and they make large amounts of money, even in Think and Grow Rich, some of the chapters that were taken out were around the sacred sexual side of passion and how that energy goes into our life. Our whole reality becomes supercharged through our sexual orgasmic energy. And that's why I talk about it so much, why it's so very important, is just get people to be aware that this stuff is repressed. It's shamed and guilted for a reason. Why would society want you to feel good if they want everybody to do a menial job, to not get ahead, to not be happy? What would you do? You take away things like pleasure, ways that you can naturally create chemicals in your body that are healthy to you, things like oxytocin, serotonin. These are all things that are completely and totally not in alignment with keeping you in a medical system, where they're going to fill your head with their version of whatever dopamines and serotonins in proportions that aren't maybe needed in our body. So shut down our sexuality, shut down our body, shut down our personal choice, shut down our ability to know that we're worthy of feeling good all the time. And there's a reason for it. And our churches do this. They say sexuality with another person has to be in marriage. And if you're Catholic, you can't have birth control. And you got to have babies, and you can only do it for procreation. Well, why would you put our biggest pleasure and the biggest thing that's for us to be in a human body, the pleasure, the out-of-body experience, the fun, the play, the giggly, the playground of adults, and make it bad? And then it makes us bad inherently, because we want to feel good and we want to feel worthy of pleasure and those things. And it's taken from us by all the shame and guilt, and making sexuality dirty, shameful, full of STDs, all these things that are part of our societal knowing of what sexuality is. And it's been taken from us. And then every time we think about it, we are taught with shame. We are taught of, this isn't good, or this isn't respecting of another person, or we're doing a sin, or other things. And I'm not even talking about sex with another person. I'm talking about just being able to have pleasure with yourself, to know your body and to be able to touch it in a way that feels really good. That's what sexuality is giving ourselves self-love. And self-love is touching ourselves. Does this feel good? Does this rubbing feel good? Oh, does that feel tingly? Oh, well, what if I go and touch the tips of my lip? What if I put the tongue on the roof of my mouth while I'm feeling sexual energy? How does that feel different in my body? And all of a sudden that you start feeling this energy and these movements and these tingles and these things that feel really good and rushes. That is what I teach about in Awakening Through Sexuality, giving people back their choice. Why is sexuality repressed? Why am I not feeling it? Why is pleasure bad? How do I feel in my body when I try and think about pleasure, or I think about sex, or with a partner, or by myself, or what shames and guilt show up? Why do I not feel comfortable being with myself? Or why does my body not know how to have pleasure, or to experience it, or to surrender? So going through experiences of really gentleness with ourselves and self-exploration. It's like, okay, this feels good. This doesn't feel good. Does this kind of stuff feel good? Or does this kind of stuff feel good? Or really light tingly touch feel good? Or do I want like squeezy kind of feeling and grounded? Getting to know our body so that we can share that with another person. Tell them what feels good, how to touch, how to go next, whatever. That's what the start of our sexuality is getting in touch with our body and our pleasure and our self-love. And then when we graduate through that and we can get really comfortable with what we want, then we can start to share it with another person. And then as we share it with another person, then they're doing the same thing. And then there's this like magical exchange. We want intimacy, we want connection, we want touch. I need a little more light, I guess, next time, because my water's coming through once in a while. But as we get aware of all those things, magic starts to happen. We start to become aware of what we want. Why are we making the choices? Why is my pleasure not important? Why do I have to find somebody else to love and to fill myself? Instead, I can fill myself first, meet my needs first, and then start to seek another. And then our boundaries are better, because now we don't have to worry about just pleasing someone so that we'll get pleased and all this kind of stuff. Instead, it's like, okay, I'm doing this for my pleasure first, but what do you want, by the way, while we're in this? And then we can have beautiful exchanges. So that's the basis of what Awakening Through Sexuality is getting people aware of their body, of their pleasure first. And then further on, more advanced topics are, how do you share that with a partner? Maybe you come to a course where people come together with their partner, and then they find out about each other's bodies from people in those other bodies that are teachers, and then sharing that, and then using that in your day-to-day personal interactions with your partner, with your sexual partners, getting you aware of the energetic side of sexuality, how the energies move in our body, how we can propagate them, how we can use those for healing, set intentions for them. This is what I'm here to teach. And it's really freaking powerful stuff. It makes people uncomfortable. Talking about the word sexuality alone can make people uncomfortable. Many people have sexual trauma, sexual problems that get talked about in all of this. And we want to heal it. And it's going into our shadow and all our repression and things. But I want to give you the knowledge, not to force you through it or drag you through trying to see all this stuff. I want to make you aware. Am I making choices from myself? Am I making choices from my trauma, from my past, from my lineage? Why do I think about my parents when I'm about to have sexuality? What would other people think? Getting people aware of their whys and then choosing themselves. That's awakening. That's spirituality. That's self-mastery. Once you can understand yourself in all these energies and all these places, really magical things start to happen. And that's what I want to teach about. I'm going to give more lives like this here in the coming days. Some of them I'm going to do a little more advanced. They're going to be in the Awakening Through Sexuality group. So join me in the Facebook group. I'll put it in underneath when we're done here. And we're going to start talking about the things that matter, the things that have been verboten, not to be talked about for centuries, 2,000 years. Some of this stuff has been repressed, and I'm here to bring it back. to give people this gift of getting their life back and their sexuality back. And you're going to be really, really surprised how much fun it can be when we start it for ourselves. There's nothing about getting into other people. We'll work through our traumas and shames as we go. The first is just getting back in touch with our body, dating ourselves, feeling good about ourselves, going and have a bath, going and have a fun time with ourselves first. And then we'll go from there. So this is the start. This is the basis. We're going to talk more as we go through and ask questions, put them in the bottom. And if you're concerned or whatever, and it's something you don't want to talk about in public, send me a private message. I work with people all the time, getting them through this stuff, starting to make choices for themselves that are healthy, that have boundaries, that have consent, that have all these things, and magic comes from that. So sorry about my background. I got to have more light in future. I'm getting this all sorted out. So love you lots. Any questions, let me know. Join the group, Awakening Through Sexuality on Facebook, and we'll talk more soon. Have a great day. Love you all.